Very warm good afternoon to everyone present here. We have with us Ms. Deepthi Sahani, who's the CEO and founder of Mahattattva. And today she'll be taking the part two of this webinar series, Be Internet Awesome. So over to you, Deepthi ma'am. We are here to learn something new.
Great. Thank you so much, Manu. And thank you for everyone who's come back today for day two. And we had a session yesterday, and a lot of you wrote back on the feedback form. There are certain things that you have asked me to repeat, so I will be doing that. And of course, we will make this as simple as possible for you to be able to transact this in your own classrooms and in your school. So, Manu, if you can start sharing my screen, please. Thank you so much. So yesterday, when we had the session, I showed you the various channels with which you can communicate with us, and I also showed you a very important part of Be Internet Awesome, and that is the use of the peer deck. So this is the team. Of course, you have been introduced yesterday. These are the steps already there in the website. And as we speak, Pramukta will be sharing this uh, website link on the YouTube chat. So I'm going to repeat this process for you to make it simpler and for you to understand how do you get the certification. There is no certification for you to just attend the webinar. Attending the webinar doesn't give you a certificate. You have to attend these two webinars. So you attended one yesterday and you will be attending one today, the one that we are doing right now. After you've attended this, you will access the resources which are there on the website. Pramukta would have shared the website with you on the YouTube chat. You've done that, you've seen the website, you've read through the resources, you have to create your own engagement for your children. Get the children in your classroom accustomed to the 5 units, and you can assess the children in your own way. You can have Google Forms. The Google Forms are given to you. We have given you the links. There is gamification in this entire thing by the Interland Games, that those links are also there on the website, and you can assess your own children by observation, discussions. You can have role play, whatever you think is the best fit for your children. We leave that to the teacher's discretion how they want to assess their children. After you've done that, you have to create a 2-minute video. The video needs to be an evidence of that fact that you have done Be Internet Awesome in your classrooms. After you have done that, there is a Google form that you need to fill in and submit, and you will get a certificate by CBSE and Google. Apart from that, your children also who have been part of this program will get the certification. So this is the website. We've seen it yesterday in totality. I'm not going to repeat this, but if you are on a laptop or on a desktop, my request as yesterday would be get onto it, get onto the website, and we will just quickly see the resources again. So here are the resources that you can use with the children: the website, the complete curriculum, unit wise resources. So if you look at these resources here, so this is unit 1. I've clicked on this slide deck here, and this is what you're going to get when you click on this. After you click on the website which opens up, you can see that this is the Be Internet Awesome official site. This opens up, and unit wise resources are available to you. When you click on this, you will get something like this. I told you yesterday that this entire resource that you have available for you is coupled with Peer Deck for interactivity, for assessment, for collecting views of the children. Very, very, I would say, interactive app that you can integrate. It's add-on that you can integrate with your Google Slides and make the classes more engaging for the children. Having said that, if you think that your school is in a remote place and you can't access this, please have a look at these resources. It gives you a general idea. You can tweak the strategies, the activities, and make them your own. Get paper, colored sheets, sketch pens, pens for the children, and you can do this. And I have complete faith that the teachers will be able to adapt. So if you don't have internet and you cannot get online to do these, it's okay. You have a look at them on the phone, or have a quick look at them with a colleague in the ICT room, plan together, and just execute the lessons. I think our teachers are very, very agile, and they are innovative, creative. So this is a very good resource. Use it electronically or online if you have the facilities. If you don't get bogged down by the fact that, oh my god, I can't use these resources. They are something that I can actually do with. Just see them, get an idea, and contextualize it to your school and your resources. So once you click on use content, it asks you to make a copy. So you get your own copy here for the resource. So you can see here, copy of Be Internet Awesome. This is the first lesson which I have opened up, and you can see it tells you that this works with Peer Deck. Now for opening Peer Deck, I showed you yesterday. You go on add-on, you go on get add-on, you will go to the Google Marketplace, and you can go and add it on to your Google Slides. You see here, I've already added it yesterday. So if I go on open Peer Deck, it opens up the activity part of it. And if I click on start lesson, the children will be able to join this lesson, and you will be able to do the activities at your own pace, or at the student. You can choose whether you want to control it, or you want the children to go from activity to activity on their own. So this is how you will be able to use this resource. So I'm not going to take too much time on this, because we discussed a lot of this yesterday, and we also had an overview of the 5 units. So what we are going to do today is look at this, and I'm going to show you the assessments again, because in the assessment is your, at the bottom is your form which you need to fill up, the student training completion form. So you have to use these resources, train your children. Then you have to fill up this form after your evidence is done, and you will be able to submit it and get your certification. So this is assessments, is where your form is lying. If you still can't find it, and if you think there is a some sort of a connect that you need to make with my team, all the details are there in the help desk. So please write us a mail, fill up the Google form, ring us up, call us up, click on the meet link, come and meet us. So whatever you think is something that you want to get in touch with us, use any of these channels, and we will be there. So these are the things that are there on the Google site, created by the team just for supporting you. So I'm moving on to the curriculum, which we will be discussing and reading together. I feel that once we spend about 30-40 minutes on this today, you will be able to actually understand what this is, and use it as a resource as you go and you plan your activity with the children. So this is the main, I would say, the fulcrum around which our entire program is running. So this is made by Google, iKeep, and the Net Safety Collaborative. And as you can see, and I had spoken about it before as well, this is authorized by 𝗕𝗲. So 𝗕𝗲 is the International Society for Technology in Education, and it has the seal of alignment with the standards that it advocates for students and teachers. So you can see it has a stamp of 𝗕𝗲. So this is the curriculum, and let me go through the curriculum with you. So, as was discussed yesterday, there are the educators' guides are there. What are the how do we teach it? So they'll give you a prelim of how to teach the curriculum. What are the vocabulary activities? The parent letter that I spoke to you about is on page number 9, and it's actually a template, so you can have a look at it. And if you think that your whole school is getting this program done, you can write a note or a letter or an email to the parents to say that the school has decided to make the children safe online, and this is what we are advocating, and this letter of communication can go to your parents. Now, I had also suggested that you can get in touch with us if you want the whole school to be certified from class 1 to class 12. So you can get in touch with us, and we will support you with this entire program by doing a session with your teachers only online, where we will support you individually, school by school. So you can do that as well if you think you are progressive and you want the complete school to be certified. So we are supporting that as well. So as you can see, there are some frequently asked questions, and post that you have the 5 units. So the first unit is share with care, then don't fall for fake, secure your secrets, it's cool to be kind, and when in doubt, talk it out. So these are the 5 units that are going to be covered, and you have to plan activities for the children for it. So it tells you how do you do it. So it will tell you that there are goals for the children. You can do a discussion with the children, there's an activity, and at the end of it, yesterday we spoke about it, there is a takeaway of the lesson that you're doing. So every unit will have, or chapter will have a takeaway. So when you are discussing the goals with the children and you're telling them, these are the goals that you can aim for, these are the 4 or the 5 goals that we need to finish by the end of unit 1. So you can talk about that with the children. So let them understand and know that these are the goals that they are actually going to do when they are done with the unit, and they should know these 4 or 5 goals whatever have been set by you. So the takeaway is a very good opportunity for you to discuss that with the children. So it also tells you about the grades, the fact that it's got media literacy integrated, the fact that it is SEL, social emotional learning, is involved in it. So if you see the 4th unit where we talk about it's school to be kind, this is very, very heavy on social emotional learning. So it will tell you that these unit or this chapter that you're doing integrates that with it. So this is just for your information. And we also spoke about how this curriculum is written for a certain age group. So for class 2 to class 6. But if you really look at the entire framework, you can contextualize the same activities for older children as well by changing the scenarios. And I have seen that when you start talking to the children, they come up with scenarios. So very soon you will realize that the scenarios which you're using from this booklet probably can be just a starter for the children to jack up what they are feeling or they have experienced, and then you can take up their scenarios, so it becomes totally authentic and real life situation connect for them. So uh, I have actually experimented with this curriculum from grade 1 up till grade 12, and it works across. So, our children need to be empowered with these, uh, you know, the ideas and the strategies for being online. So, I think you should just go ahead and do it with the entire school. So there are vocabulary activities, and I showed you yesterday how the vocabulary games are integrated. So you can do that. There are bingo games, there's word web. So all these templates are given to you right at the beginning. So there's a template for you to uh, create your bingo cards. So those are there. If you want fewer words, those are there. The word web. So this is quite like the Freya model. So you have a keyword which is written at the middle, and the children can write the definition, the characteristics, how is it, uh, what are the various other examples of the same word, and what are the non-examples. So this is something that the children can do in their own time. So this is page number 9, and this is that email that I was telling you about. So it tells you the entire thing. If you want your parents to know that what are the children doing, what is the cyber security framework or the curriculum that the school is using. So all of that is there. You can contextualize this letter, or you can uh, make a similar letter and send it to your parents, so letting them know that we are very, very conscious of the fact that the children need to be safe when they are online, and you can send this letter home. So the frequently asked questions. So if you have any questions, you can have a look at this at your own time, and all your queries are answered here. And we will now start with um, chapter 1. So the unit 1, like I said, it's share with care, and it talks about how do you share your information online, how which information you should and you shouldn't share. And it also talks about how do you make your footprint, your digital footprint, a positive sort of a thing when you are online. So all those things, how do you share, what do you share, how are you sharing it, and what is the effect that you're creating online, is all dependent on you. So giving the onus to the children to understand that it is up to you how you actually conceptualize the whole thing. So as you can see, the lesson overview is given. There are a few chapters here, few lessons here, which you can go one by one, and we will be seeing these activities. And at the end of it is the interland game. So you can click on the interland game right at the end of the chapter, and it will take you to the link. So this is hyperlinked to the games that your children can play in the class. So if you are an ICT teacher, you can get them done in the computer lab. If you are not an ICT teacher and you're a science teacher or an English teacher or a maths teacher, this curriculum is for everybody. Any teacher, any subject teacher can do this. Just give me a minute, please. Sorry about that. So teachers can, subject teachers can do this. So there is the lesson overview, the goals that I was talking to you about as per the unit. So those are there. The vocabulary for each unit, what are the keywords that should be taken into account, what are the things that you should keep in mind. And this vocabulary actually is a very important thing, because when you're doing this unit, your children will be exactly with blinkers on, they will know exactly these are the various things that I should know. So good reckoner, ready reckoner for you to keep checking if everything's covered and the children know what we are talking about. So the various scenarios that you do with them, you can talk about assumptions, you can talk about your repetition, you can talk about a code, your digital footprint, how do you curate text, photographs, sounds, illustration, videos, how do you do that, and what is the meaning of the word curate. So when you are doing this with the little children, you can have a different kind of a explanation. When you do it with the older one, it's of course going to be higher level. So the vocabulary is there, and you will see now that as I go through this book, the entire format is the same for all the lessons. So it tells you that you can use this for grade 6 2 to 6, and it gives you about the lesson. It tells you out of those 4 goals for this unit, what are the 2 goals which will get covered here. It also gives you the points of discussion. What are the things that you can have a debate or a discussion or a prompt for the children to start talking about it. So it actually gives you the entire conversation points, thinking points, and talking points, which you can share with the children. So that starts with let's talk. Then there are activities, and the activities are descriptive as well. And this is the takeaway that I was talking to you about. Takeaways are either text which is written for you, and you just have to make sure that you are getting the same kind of answers from the children, because this has to be linked to the goal, whatever goal that you had set for this lesson. So you will either have that, or you will have a scenario like this one is a scenario here, and you can ask the children to discuss it. And when you are listening to them, you will be able to gauge if they have understood or not. So, as I said right at the beginning, your assessment could be just a Q&A or a discussion with in the class, a classroom discussion, where you can gauge if the children have understood and you can move on ahead. So this is, the lessons will just keep going, keeping it private. What are the goals for that? How do we talk about this entire scenario that we are doing right now? The activity will be given to you. And as you can see that there are 5 scenarios here in the first one. So there is scenario 1, scenario 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is on, if you are working with me on the laptop, you can actually put this in your Google Drive, and you can make comments on it. So page number 17 and 18 is where the scenarios are kept. So you can look at these scenarios, read them yourself. What we do is, when we do the physical training in schools, we cut these scenarios out and give it to a group of children, let them discuss, and then they come up with their perspectives, and the children in the classroom. So if you have 35 children, you can have 6 to 7 children in a group and have 5 groups, and these children can discuss these scenarios, and then you can have a sharing. In the sharing, you will realize that the children will come up with their own perspectives, their own experiences, what they have actually gone through, and they will relate to these scenarios. So they will say, oh, something like this also happened with my mom, or something like this happened with my cousin, or whatever. So you can just pick up that from there, and leave these scenarios alone and go with that, so that the children relate to it, because the person who's speaking is their peer in their own classroom, so they can relate to that better than what you find in the books. That's always the case with other textbooks as well. And you can see that the takeaway has come again. So once you have done this, you will realize that the children understand that there are different kinds of scenarios, and there is no cookie cutter solution for any of the challenges that the children are facing. They have to have different responses for different situations. So what you need to stress to them is that it's always very important to respect other people's privacy, their choices that they make. And even if you have different choices for the same kind of a scenario, it's okay, because we have to respect multiple perspectives, and that is how you are actually teaching them the life skills as well. So this entire program is built on critical thinking, problem solving. It is about taking multiple perspectives. How do you respect each other's constructive feedback? So all of that is integrated in this. So if you do this really, really cleverly, you can use this program not only to get the children aware about cyber safety, but so many other skills as well. So this is how it goes. We are on page 19 now, and I'm moving on. So here again, you see there is a scenario. So these scenarios are very good talking points with the children. You might not do all of them, but you can do some, and give them the scenarios, and for them to understand what are the various things that are actually happening in the world. So here also there are 5 scenarios, and the discussions can happen. And Then we have the chapter which is "That's Not What I Meant." So here the children, talk about something that they had written online was misunderstood. So what they are saying or what they're writing, has that ever been misunderstood online? So how do you deal with that? So you have the children read this, talk about this, and as you can see, you can describe yourself with emojis. And when they are doing this, they have given you a resource. So there is a blank t-shirt, you can see this, and then there are some emojis. So if you can get a colored printout, you can make this, and you get the children to say, okay, how will you describe yourself? So when the children use these emojis to describe an emotion or their thinking, how does that interpretation take place? So you will see that different children have different interpretations of what the combinations of emojis is actually depicting. So this is something which is very uh, joyful, in the classroom, where the children can interact and talk about what do you feel I'm trying to say. So this is a nice activity for you to do, and it works across. Even for the older children, you can just change the emojis and the same thing goes ahead. So while we are talking about these things, it's very important for children to understand that when you are when you are online and you are making these choices, what is that you want the media to see you as? So how do you see yourself, and how does the media interpret it? So that is something that the children can be taught, and they can be asked to visualize. How do they visualize themselves as media creators, and what are they trying to show? So there's a lovely activity which goes with this, and it's just coming up here, wherein you talk about what's in a frame. So you see the first frame, it shows you that there's a pirate ship, and there's water and some clouds around it. And if you zoom out, you see that it's just a bathtub. So the perspective of zooming in and zooming out, so what you are actually seeing may not be what you are perceiving or people are perceiving. So this is something that can be done very, very easily with the children. And what you can do is give them handouts of this um, blank small squares and rectangles, and you can tell them, okay, can you visualize, have you seen something like this online where you thought it was this and it wasn't? So let them draw. So let them be creative and draw the experiences that they've had, and show them this first as an exemplar, and let them be creative about it. And this other image, which actually shows that there's a claw, but it's actually a shadow of a plant. And then the third example, where there's a tiger, and it appears as if the girl is actually touching the tiger, but that's not the case. It's a case, and like a room, a glass room, where the tiger is behind the glass, and that is how what you see when you zoom out. So talking to this to the people about what it actually is and how you perceive it. So this is a good sheet to do, and you just talk to them about it, and then you get them to draw it on their own. And then you start talking. If you want to talk about the digital footprint, there is a scenario here again, where you have three people, Christy, Taylor, and Connor, or any fictional character that they can create. You give them the descriptions of these people. So the cutouts are there as well. If you want to use these cutouts, it's fine. Otherwise, you can make your own as well. And after reading the description of the person, you have to choose what is the kind of thing that these people will create or share online. So what are the various things. What are the cues of this person's character which gets them to think that this person can share something which is close to the tags which are given. So these can be cutouts, and you can have the three personalities, and the children can paste that according to the description given. So they can do that. And it also has an extension. If the children are older, you can get them to write what they think that this person of this personality will be sharing, what kind of things will this person be sharing. So this actually is a very interesting activity, and with the older ones, you can take it to a different level altogether. So this is about how do others see us online. And here you can have again, you can have a point of view where you can have different children doing different roles about what do they say about the characters, the different people, what are their perspectives. And when you do this activity, you will realize that the children will realize that everybody's everybody's opinion, their point of view is different. For the little ones, especially the children who are in class 3, class 4, it's very difficult to comprehend that we are seeing something in front of us online. It could be something else, and what actually is the connotation of that. So it's very difficult for them to even visualize that it can be something that is not being shown on the screen. So for them to understand that yes, there are possibilities, that you are seeing the same thing, you have this opinion about it, and somebody who's seeing the same thing will have a different definition of a different, or a different perspective of it. For the takeaway, it says different people can see the same information and draw different conclusions from it. Don't assume that people online will see you the same way that you think that they will see you. So how do you portray yourself, and how people are actually seeing you? There are different scenarios to that. There are different perspectives to that. So get them to understand that, and you will see that these activities which are done, they are basically at a very, very um, visual, physical level, where you can get the children to do these things in the classroom, actually see and talk about it, and then slowly and gradually it moves online. So from the real world into the virtual world. So these discussions actually lead to those kind of perspectives. And as you can see, we've come to the end of unit 1. So the mindful mountain has come up. So if you click on this link here, it will take you to the assessment of this. And like I said yesterday, the children will go on to this website. They will look at this, and then when they play the game, you will understand what critical thinking, problem solving skills are being integrated, because the children have to solve these problems to go ahead. So once that is done, the frame, the certificate comes up, where the children can just put their names and get their certificates printed out. So this is the end of unit 1. And as you will see, and as we go forward, the units are just the same, in the same flow. So there's the first one with the lesson overview, the themes. So you need to understand the theme and then make the children understand what are the 4 or 5 goals that we are discussing for this unit. Don't worry too much about the standards, because these standards are ISTE standards, and most of the schools in India don't use it. So you can leave that out from your teaching and learning. But the vocabulary is very important. The children in the older classes, from class 6 onwards, they will know most of these words. But if they don't, make a game out of it, do a crossword or a bingo or whatever has been suggested, and the children should understand what these words are. So the vocabulary comes up. Then let's talk. So what is the talking point in that? After the talking point, you will get an activity. So it will tell you, divide the children, give them examples. So whatever is uh, given in the description, you can plan it. Just a word of caution that sometimes in the units or the lesson, there are lots of activities. If you think that you've done well one and the children have understood and they have attained the goals of that unit, it's all right to skip some of these activities, because it will unnecessarily prolong your interaction, and the children might just lose the memento that they're getting with with the program. So get them to do these activities. Once these activities are done and they have understood what is the takeaway, discuss that takeaway and see if you are on sync with what is being done in progression with this curriculum. So I'm going on to the worksheet. So there are printouts. You can just take printouts of this. There is no copyright issue. You know that everybody knows that you are using this curriculum for education. So there is no harm in photocopying this and giving it to the children. Or if you want to save paper, you can have it on screen. The children can see it. If you don't have a screen in the classroom, you can just read it out and have a discussion. So a lot of the schools do that, and it's okay to do it. And you can just show the some of the images to the children by holding up a paper where these images are printed out. So these are the various activities and worksheets which are there, and they can be used for unit 2. How do you think, what is safe, what is phishing, is this something which is real or is it fake? So all of that is there. Who's this talking to me? So again, there's an activity wherein you can do the activity first, then you have the takeaway where you have to understand what was the talking point, what was the thinking point of this strategy that you did just now. um, who's this talking to me? Again, there are scenarios. You can do this as group work, get the children to uh, you know make pairs or make groups, and then you give them these scenarios and let them discuss it. So when you are working in groups, you can do the dominoes effect as well. So the two children work on it together, and then they make four, and the four makes eight, and then the whole class discusses it. The strategy can be any. The idea is that the school, the whole class should understand what's going on. So once this activity is done, who's this talking to me? Then again, there are scenarios. So like I said, there are multiple activities that you can do for a single goal or an objective. So you can choose which one you want. And if you think that there are some scenarios which are something that doesn't associate or can't, your children will not be able to link, you can change those scenarios, make your own as well. So these scenarios are very much there and can be used by you by photocopying or, like I said, discussing it with the children. Is that really true? So they are very catchy units that have been created for the children. So even if you discuss it with the children, they would love to know what is this lesson going to be about. So there's a let's talk. So what discussion? You can see that the same flow is coming through. So the learning goals are there, the let's talk is there, then there's an activity, and then there's a takeaway. So that flow is there for all the activities for you to follow as well. We are on page 51, and you can see the activities are going on, and these are the activities that you can do with the children. And when you go on, um, this is the same unit going on, wherein for the older children you can have this discussion as to, when they're doing a research paper, or they're doing any kind of project that they have to research on, how do they find credible sources? So this is a handout for that. What are the various when you are looking at a source for a research, what are the questions that you should be asking for? So it talks about expertise, and it talks about the motive. Clearly you can see that this is for older children. So when you are talking with class 2 or class 3, you know the activities that you're going to be using. You should know all of them. You should see all of them, and you should make your own judgment that my children will be able to do this, so I'm going to pick this one up from here. So these are the various steps for finding out what are the credible sources, and these are handouts which can be explained to the children or given out to them, or you can have a copy of this in your library, a copy of this in your classrooms where the children are usually looking for sources, so you can have them there on that. This here again is a very important activity, that when we are going online and we are looking for stuff, how do we make that distinction? So if you remember this game that you used to play when we were young, you have to look at the two pictures and you have to say how are they different. So what this activity actually does, it gets the children prepped onto looking closely. So if they find six differences, you say, okay, no, find more, find more, find more, and they keep looking at it more intricately. So after they've done that, you ask them what happened. So when you looked more, you found more differences. So in the same way, it talks about very quickly, it moves from this space to the online space, and it says that when you go online, you have to be very careful. Even the URL that you are going on should be something which is creditable. So how do you do that? So there is a ready-made worksheet for you. If I can go on to that. So this is another story about finding out if this story is fake or is it real. And then there is a worksheet here. There are websites listed, and the children have to circle which is the correct answer. Is this website real, or do they think is it fake? If they think it's real, why? If they think that it is a fake, then why is it fake? So a lot of them, like the Washington Post, instead of G there's a Q. So how do you get the children to the spellings, check the spellings and see which one do they think is not the authentic website? So there's uh, worksheet for that as well. So if I can keep going, a beautiful activity, if we were a search engine and it tells you look for pizza, and if you look for pepperoni pizza, how does it become different? If you say solar system, or if you say Mars or Earth, or you keep defining it. And if you give the same keyword to the class and you tell them to look for an image or a video or a piece of information about a keyword that you're giving, you will see that almost everybody will have a different answer. So how does that happen? The choices that you make, the perspectives that you have, the the research that you're conducting, the flow of thought that you have, all of that is taken into consideration, and your choices are based on that. So getting the children to understand that everybody will have a different choice according to their own perspective. So it tells you about a topic, and it says, okay, find an image, a map, or a video for this particular website. So the children, there's a template for that. You can use that, and you will see how the same topic is generating different results for the children. So how do you practice internet research? So that is there again, your first query. So there's a worksheet for that as well. What have you written on the first original search query? Books about imaginary characters and mystery. So what was a research result for that, and how did you refine that search query? How did you make sure that whatever that you were looking for, you actually put only that keyword and the result became better? Or the keyword went round, really wrong, and something else showed up. So how do you practice getting the exact query and the result that you're looking for your research? So this activity is on that, very beautifully done. So you can photocopy it and give it to the children. And just as this unit finishes, you will see the reality river comes up. So this is the gamification of this unit, where the children can go and get a certificate. So I'm moving on to chapter unit 3, which is secure your secrets. Now this one here, like I said before as well, very popular with the children. And we are still in Guwahati, Pramukda and myself. And today we worked with the army school in Guwahati, and the children, again, like I said, loved this activity, and some of them were so clever. They knew that it has to be an uppercase, lowercase, number, at least eight characters. The children actually know all of this. This is something that has become a second life for them. So just to make sure that not only 5 or 10 or 12 children in your class know, but consistently everybody knows what is the expectation when you're creating a password. This activity here is very popular with the children, and they love creating it. And today the passwords that were being created were absolutely phenomenal, with various things. And we had a very good discussion on, okay, this password looks amazing, I don't think anybody will be able to guess it, but how will you remember it? So a lot of laughs there. So you can also have these interactions with children, but the understanding is that the children should get what kind of passwords they need to create. So especially the class 6 children were talking about, is it okay to give my password to my friend? And if I love my friend so much, why can't I give my password to the friend? So having that conversation about how important passwords are. So if you start the conversation with, say, for example, if you have to make an account for anything, so what are the various things that this website is going to ask you? The website asks you your first name, second name, your date of birth, your parents' name, sometimes your address, sometimes. So all those things are actually filled up in your profile. And if you give your password to somebody, you're actually handing over that entire personal details to your friend, which, and you do know that your friends also change. Sometimes you are very, very thick friends, and sometimes you have a tiff. And do you think that some harm will come of that? So give them these scenarios, let them think about it, and come to their own decisions as to what they want to do with it. And once they have had this discussion with you, then you tell them the finer details. So let it come from them. And I've seen with experience, with talking to the children and the teachers that we are now talking to across the country for these sessions, it's very important for these discussions to come from the children, and they actually feel very nice about it. So here again, there is an activity, and with the activity there are various things that you can do. What is that action, what could be the outcome of this, or what is the discussion, and what is the digital footprint. So what we discussed in unit 1, how is it affecting? So there's a grid for it. So you can say, I have shared my password to my social media account. What will be the action of that? What will be the outcome, and what will be my digital footprint because of that? So what is the consequence of sharing my password on a multimedia account, a social media account, on a gaming account, on the phone, on a tablet? So these are various scenarios that you can ask them, and you can also add one or two which you want them to discuss. So this template is there for you. How to build a great password, this is the activity which I was saying children really love. So you can give them this handout which says what are the guidelines of creating. So the do's and the don'ts you can give them as handouts, and say, okay, now you try and create a password on your own. So this is readily available on page number 78. Then we talk about the privacy settings. How do we get that kind of security? So you can show them how the settings are there and the privacy is there, how you can set it, and that decision of doing all of this lies with you, and how do you make hold of that. And what are the again, the flow of the lesson goes like this: what is the takeaway? So how choosing a strong and a unique password for each of your important accounts is a great first step. So how do you do that? And how do you make sure that you remember them and you keep them private as well? So as I go ahead, there is the interlinked game to end unit, not the chapter, there are units, and inside the units are the chapters. So unit 3 is done. Here, this unit is a favorite of mine, but here we have to invoke the empathy, kindness of the children, and how you can, very easily tell them some narration of any one incident where you say that, when you leave out positivity in the environment that you are in, how it gets amplified. And if there is something that you are what you're saying is negative or not nice, that also gets amplified. And you can also give an example of how technology makes it quicker. So, if like in my age and era, when we were in school, we had to wait till the next day to talk to somebody about something, right? Some of us didn't even have telephones. There was a telephone in the neighborhood, which was like 10 houses away, and nobody actually had that mobile which you could just pick up, or WhatsApp or anything. So, how now with time, internet has become so quick, spreading of information has become so quick. So if you're doing something wrong, that ramification is that the wrong will become amplified. So how do you want yourself to be projected to the world? So do you want to say kind things when Google curates everything about your name? What are the nice things that you have said to the world? And when you write your name, search for your name, how does the aggregator for the entire thing comes as a positive person, and that is you. And the same can happen if you are a negative person. So if you have been writing negative things, those things will come back to you if somebody is searching for you. So how important it is to have a positive profile online, and how you can do it by being kind, by getting into that person's shoes, and getting into that person's skin to be able to empathize with that person. So here they talk about scenarios where somebody's been bullied, or somebody's profile has been um, faked, or there are people who are saying nasty things about uh, a Facebook post that you have done. So how can you make it positive? So here there is a noticing feelings, that it takes you, like I said, it takes you from the physical world. So it will tell you about the various scenarios which can happen in the classroom, and then it takes you online. And in the online thing, you these are emojis, practicing empathy. I just want you to go on to this sheet where it says, you're observing something. So here again, it is about practicing empathy. How do you think this person is feeling? And your kindness gram is there. And I just want to show you this worksheet where there is a scenario. Here again, it's empathy. And I will show kindness. I will show kindness. What is this? So here, so if you have the scenario, there will be a scenario where something is being said, which says, people are leaving disrespectful comments on a selfie your friend has posted. One way to show kindness is, so then the children will write that. Another way to show kindness. So they will, it's actually pushing the children to say, okay, this is one way you can make it right. This is another way that you can also make it right. So there's a worksheet to that effect, and you can give these scenarios to the people, to the groups, and the children. You can make your own. There are 3 here. You can contextualize and make your own as well, and you will see that the children will be able to express, talk about how they can make things from negative to nice. So there's a chapter on that with a talking point, with an activity, and there is a worksheet that you can get the children to do. So what you can see here, and it goes on and on. So there is there is a talking point, there's an activity, there's a takeaway, there are some sheets that you can get the children to do, fill up, and talk about. So things like how a text can change the entire perspective. So the same image here, it says awesome, for a girl who's making a football kick, and it says show off. So how, when you write something, the entire perspective of the picture changes. So what do you want to do? Do you want to make a positive comment on it, or do you want to make a negative comment? So this is something that we need to talk to the children about. And the children actually have a very positive outlook. It's just that when they see, hear things around, that they start getting a little nasty. But there is no way that you can't get them to think, reconsider, and be empathetic to the world around them. So lots and lots of activities for you to do. And then of course the interland game comes up. The last chapter that is for and it's a theme which runs through the four units that we've done, where it talks about talking to an adult. Here it showcases you, the parents, the older brothers and sisters, as somebody that you can talk to. Just the other day, I was talking to Pramukda, and she had been talking to some girls in 11th class about these little virtual spaces that the children go to, and how they don't want to have a friend in a room. They are okay with the virtual world. So how do you make them understand that there is a physical being? Your mother is somebody you can go and talk to, rather than putting it out in the world and asking for help outside, because your own interest will always be the universe and the heart that your mother believes in. She has your well-being in her mind all the time. So rather than talking to somebody in the cyberspace which you don't know who that person is, it's always better to reach out to your own mom, your own teacher. So this entire unit is about that. So how do you get children to understand that there is a person around, there is a helper around, there is a person you can go out to? And as the name or the title of the unit suggests, that it's okay to actually go out and talk, and it's when in doubt, talk it out. And it talks about be internet brave. People or the schools children are actually made to believe that if they go and tell somebody, they are sissies, right? They can't handle themselves. And how, if they are being confronted by somebody online, how they have to ignore and disengage. So how does that disengaging thing happen? How do the children make sure that they are not reacting? They have to think and respond. So how do we make our children that strong? So how do we get them to do that? So this last chapter is about being brave and being able to reach out to somebody who is a responsible adult, to talk about what is in your mind before you go actually and react on the internet. So these are the 5 units. And if you can talk to your children in maybe 2 or 3 days, get them to do these activities, let them ask you questions. And this is a program which will not go away in a day or two. This should be something which is integrated in your school on a daily basis. So there is somebody who is doing an activity or two in the classes, or taking a discussion to another level, doing assemblies, talking to the children, making posters, getting the children aware, getting the older children to make the younger ones aware, giving them the leadership opportunity of leading an initiative like that. The ideas and the things are just there for you to do and to actually execute in the classroom. It's entirely how you are going to execute this program in your own school. So this is the program. We will wait for you to complete it with the children. If there are any questions, there will be follow-up sessions very soon, and you can talk to us, get in touch with us, and we will be able to support you in a better way. If you want a one-to-one interaction with us, rather than me just speaking online and you listening on the other side, you can come up to meet. You can come up in the follow-up sessions, which will be Google Meets, and we will be sending these links to you. You just click on the meet link that we will be sending to you, click on unmute and talk to us. whatever problems you have, whatever questions you have, we will be able to solve that. So have a pleasant evening and stay in touch. And we will be looking at a lot of BIA ambassadors who are making the change for their children in the classroom. Bye bye, everyone, and thank you very much. Bye.